Hello everyone, welcome back to our Python programming for pharmaceutical science course. In our previous lectures, we have learned about variables, data types, strings, input and output operations, and basic Python programming. Today we are going to learn something that makes Python one of the most powerful programming languages in scientific research. Imagine you have just purchased a brand new laboratory. The laboratory building is ready, but it contains only few basic furniture. To perform sophisticated experiments, you need microscopes, centrifuges, spectrophotometers, PCR machines, and analytical instruments. Python works exactly the same way. The basic language gives us essential programming features, but when we need advanced capabilities like analyzing patient records, pharmacokinetic graphs, processing DNA sequences, or performing machine learning, we use libraries. By the end of today's lecture, you will understand what Python libraries are, the differences between standard and third party libraries, how to install and uninstall packages, and why virtual environments are considered a best practice in professional software development. Let's compare the standard library versus third party libraries. Python libraries can be divided into two major categories. The first category is called the standard library. These libraries come automatically with Python when it is installed. Think of them as the instruments already available in a newly established pharmaceutical laboratory. There is no need to download anything separately. Examples include mathematical calculations, file handling, data and time operations, random number generation, system utilities, and many other common programming tasks. For example, if we want to calculate factorials, generate random clinical trial IDs, or measure execution time, Python already provides built in libraries for these purposes. Now let's look at the second category. These are called third party libraries. These libraries are developed by programmers, researchers, universities, and companies around the world. They are not included with Python by default. Instead, we install them whenever our project requires additional functionality. For pharmacy students, some important third party libraries include NumPy for numerical calculations, Pandas for handling patient or laboratory datasets, Matplotlib for creating graphs, SciPy for scientific computing, RDKit for cheminformatics, BioPython for DNA and protein sequence analysis, scikit-learn for disease prediction models. So remember, standard library equals built-in laboratory equipment. Third-party libraries are specialized instruments purchased when needed. Python's standard library contains hundreds of useful modules. Let's briefly discuss a few important ones. First is pathlib. This library makes working with files and folders much easier. Suppose your research project stores microscopy images, Excel sheets, and patient reports in different folders. Pathlib helps organize and access these files efficiently without worrying about operating system differences. Next is collections. This library provides advanced data structures such as counter, default dict, and dec. Imagine counting the number of patients receiving different antibiotics. Instead of writing lengthy code, collections can perform these counting operations quickly. Then we have iter tools. It is useful for generating combinations and permutations. For examples, during formulation development, you may want to evaluate different combinations of excipients. Iter tools can automatically generate every possible combination. Next is func tools. It improves program efficiency using techniques like catching. Suppose a pharmacokinetic calculation is repeatedly performed using identical input data. Func tools can store previous results and avoid unnecessary recalculation. Another useful library is data classes. When storing patient information, drug details, or laboratory observations, data classes allow us to create structured objects with very little code. The statistics module perform common statistical calculations like mean, median, mode, and standard deviation. This is especially useful for analyzing experimental or clinical research data. Finally, Shuttle and Contextil. These libraries help with safe file handling, copying files, archiving research data, and managing system resources. These built-in libraries are available immediately after installing Python. Now, let's explore some of the most widely used third party libraries. These libraries are the reason Python dominates scientific research today. For data analysis, Pandas allows us to work with Excel sheets, CSV files, laboratory data, and patient records. For numerical computation, NumPy performs fast mathematical calculations using multi-dimensional arrays. Many pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic calculations become much faster using NumPy. Matplotlib creates publication quality graphs. Researchers commonly use it to plot drug concentration versus time, dose response curves, cell viability graphs, and toxicity results. For internet applications, request allows communication with websites and APIs. For example, retrieving drug information from online databases. Beautiful Soup extracts useful information from web pages. Researchers often use it to collect publicly available biomedical data. Django is a web development framework. It can be used to develop hospital management systems, electronic prescription software, or library information management systems. Now let's move to artificial intelligence. Scikit-learn provide machine learning algorithms for disease prediction and classification. TensorFlow and PyTorch are powerful deep learning frameworks. Today, they are widely used in medical image analysis, drug discovery, protein structure prediction, and precision medicine. These libraries have transformed pharmaceutical research. Now, the important question becomes, how do we obtain these third party libraries? The answer is PIP. PIP stands for Package Installer for Python. Think of PIP as a delivery service. Imagine ordering a new laboratory instrument from a scientific supplier. Once ordered, the instrument is delivered to your laboratory. Similarly, PIP downloads software packages from the Python package index, also known as PYPI, and installs them on your computer. Before installing any package, it is always a good idea to verify that PIP is available. We can type Python space minus m space pip space double hyphen version. This command displays the installed version of pip. If the version appears successfully, your computer is ready to install Python packages. Now, let's see how these packages can be installed. Installing a package is very simple. To install the latest version of Pandas, we type pip space install space pandas. PIP automatically downloads the latest stable version of Pandas from PYPI. Sometimes research projects require a specific version. For example, a published pharmacology analysis pipeline may have been developed using Pandas version 1.5.0. In such cases, we specify the exact version pip space install space pandas is equal to 1.5.0. Version control ensures that scientific results remain reproducible. Next, we can see every installed package using pip space list. This command displays all installed third party libraries together with their versions. Whenever you troubleshoot software issues, checking installed versions is usually the first step. Now let's see how these packages can be uninstalled. As projects evolve, some libraries become unnecessary. Unused packages consume disk space and may sometimes create compatibility issues. To remove a package, we use pip space uninstall space pandas command. Python asks for confirmation. After pressing yes, Y, the package is removed from the system. Just as libraries periodically discard expired chemicals, software developers remove unnecessary packages to keep their programming environment clean and organized. Good package management makes software easier to maintain. Now, let's see why virtual environment is required. Let's understand one of the most important concepts in Python programming. Suppose two research groups are working on different pharmaceutical software projects. One project requires Django version 3.0, another requires Django version 4.2. Unfortunately, your computer can normally maintain only one global version. Installing the newer version may break the older project. This problem is called a dependency conflict. Python solves this using virtual environments. A virtual environment creates an isolated workspace for every project. Each project has its own libraries, its own package versions, and its own dependencies. This isolation preserves conflicts between projects. In pharmaceutical research, where experiments must remain reproducible, virtual environments are considered essential. Creating a virtual environment requires only a few commands. First, create the virtual environment using Python space -m space venv space myenv. This generates a separate folder containing an independent Python environment. Next, activate it. On Windows, we type my env /scripts /activate. On Linux or Mac OS, the command is source space my env /bin/activate. Once activated, any package installed using pip remains inside this environment only. For example, pip space install space requests. Now, requests become available only for this project without affecting any other Python projects on your computer. This isolation improves reliability, reproducibility, and project management. Let's conclude today's lecture with three important rules that every Python programmer should remember. Rule 1. Always check the standard library first. Many tasks can be completed without downloading additional packages. This keeps programs lightweight and efficient. Rule 2. Install only the packages you actually need. Avoid unnecessary software installations. Smaller environments are easier to maintain and update. Rule 3. Always use a virtual environment for every new project. This prevents dependency conflicts, keeps project independent, and ensures that your research remains reproducible. Following these simple practices will make you a more organized, efficient, and professional Python programmer. In the future lectures, we will begin using several powerful third-party libraries for pharmaceutical data analysis and scientific computing. Thank you for watching. If you found this lecture useful, please like, share, and subscribe to Dr. ND's Knowledge Hub. See you in the next lecture.